Okay, so I'm over the shock of 20%. 20% in saving. Our guest today is Orlando Huston. He's written a book, Thinking Your Way to Wealth, and I think it's really it's a good time for us to have this conversation for a couple of reasons. I think number one, we're getting out and about. We're starting to do things. I know for myself, over the last year, while I've just been in the house, I have spent way too much money online shopping. That became my outlet. That became something that I did. But to your point, Mr. Huston, earlier, when you look at your statement or you look at your bank account, when I see, 10, 12 charges or whatever a month at a local department store, that's probably an indication that I'm spending too much money in that one place. But that's the kind of thing you're talking about paying attention to.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said before, we spend money all the time without thinking of, and those are those mindless things, whether it's shoes, whether it's, you're going online and buying something, it's really quick. And a lot of times I'll ask people what their expenses are and they give me a list, but then we look at their bank statement, credit card statement, there's a lot more that's there. And they're thinking to themselves, and they even ask me, to find out where that money's going. So I think it's just being mindful, of what you're doing and also tightening your belt. I don't encourage people to not go out and spend money on the things that they want. I mean, reality is we've been locked up in the house for almost over a year, for some people. So definitely get out, and spend some money within means, but don't go out and spend too much to the point where you put yourself back in a position to the point where if we have another crisis, you find yourself at a very disadvantaged spot.
So is that where a budget comes in? I mean, how important really is a budget? Knowing how much you have a month, knowing how much you want to spend, how important is it to write out on a piece of paper or, electronically a budget?
Yeah, so I believe a budget is very important, and I think you should start working on your budget in December of the current year. So, this December, you start working on your budget for next year if you haven't done one already, because it does help you keep track, like I said before, of what you're spending, what you have coming in. And that way you'll know what you can afford to do. You don't have to write it down if you're one of those people that can keep everything in your head. I know for me, I need to write things down. Some things I can't keep in my head, but some things I need to write down. But also, writing it down, hold yourself accountable. And when you create a budget, don't just create a budget and let that be it and look at it once a year. You should be looking at your budget monthly, because if you look at it monthly, that way you're going to hold yourself accountable for your own budget and not look at it once a year and getting to that, maybe 6 months or end of the year point and realizing, wow, I haven't hit my goal, of what I wanted to save. Or, I'm not bringing home enough money because that money's going out for expense. I can't save enough money. So definitely having a budget is very important. I stress it to all my clients, but like I said, it really depends on what you want to achieve.
And when you talk about what you want to achieve, I know one of the other things that you talk about in your book is generational wealth. The ability to pass along to the next generation something. And historically, that's not been a focus in our community.
True. And that's unfortunate, that it hasn't been a focus in our community for many years. But I think creating generational wealth is the key to, making sure that future generations to come are able to have a lifestyle that may, surpass yours and set them up with certain opportunities. Some ways to pass generational wealth are through having property. You can pass that property on to, a beneficiary, which could be a child, could be, any family member, and they're going to be able to pick up where you left off and continue getting that, residual income or sell that property. Another way to create generational wealth is through life insurance. A lot of times people don't think about helping a parent out with, a life insurance premium because death is certain, right? We're not all going to live forever. And of course, it's a morbid thing to think about. But if your parent, has life insurance and you're paying the premium, that death benefit's going to go to you and you can take that death benefit and now you can start to, create wealth for yourself. So it's pretty much like a domino effect that will pass down generation to generation. And I definitely encourage people to at least give it some thought, if you haven't already, to not totally worry about, just yourself, but the people behind you.
So I want to circle back to this whole idea of life insurance, because I do think that there was a time, specifically in the Black community, that life insurance was essential. There were Black insurance companies. When I go through, the personal belongings of my grandmother and her sisters, I see their North Carolina Mutual booklets that they paid into. And then it seems as if for many in our community, we got away from life insurance. But that can be critical.
Yeah, it definitely can be critical. And I do agree. A lot of, people in our community have gotten away from it, which is unfortunate. And I think, if you know somebody that can help you with life insurance, you should definitely seek them out. There are so many times where I'm online and I see somebody that has a GoFundMe account, right, for somebody that passed away, and you're trying to scramble around to get, money to pay for this, funeral costs. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And you can nip that in the bud by getting a life insurance policy. I mean, even though it's not for you, most of the time it's for somebody else. So you have to take that self factor out of it and provide for your loved ones in the case that you don't come home, or if, something, else happens. You definitely have to make sure that you have that and you protect those people that you care about.
We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk about assets. I want to talk about things that we can invest in to help secure our financial independence. That's all coming up. We'll also tell folks how they can get their hands on your book. So stick around when the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show continues.